Hey, what's up? How's it going? We're doing another ladder climb retrospective. It's year 3, the 3rd year of doing this. Going back, looking at my most popular series, and being a little nostalgic, looking back at stuff that happened at this point 2 years ago. Specifically, we're going to be looking at the 2024 ladder climbs. I wasn't actually going to do one this year, but I keep getting more and more comments of people asking me to go back to look at them again. I did it for the first 2 years, so I figured, what the hell, I have a little time, might as well do this for the real fans who really want to know my thoughts going over all these. So it's going to be the same format as last time, which if you missed, we had a tier list. Remember tier lists? They used to be very popular. I suppose some people still like tier lists. I feel like they've kind of fallen out of favor lately. You know, maybe we should do an iceberg, but I don't even know how that would work with something like this. But yeah, we've got 11 ladder climbs, all the episodes from 2024, and we're going to be rating them from A to D. There is no S tier because I don't feel like there was any ladder climb that was like way astoundingly better than the others. And there's no F tier, because I don't think there was any episode that was like an absolute failure. But there are certainly ones that did better than others. And not only will I be rating it, but chat here, Twitch chat will chime in as well and let me know what they think about it. As for what criteria we'll be rating these on, mostly just vibes, you know, whatever I feel like. To be honest, I make so many of these, so much content in general that I don't remember a lot of them half the time. So what we'll be doing is sitting down, we'll be watching like the intro of the video to see how that looks, and then we'll be skipping ahead to the very end to see what the statistics look like, then maybe check some of the comments, see if there's any most played areas, and seeing what chat has to think about it. Again, just having a nice nostalgic time, just reminiscing on things past. We're gonna start with the episode from February 2024. This was recorded in January, released in February, which is the Earth Machine ladder climb, which, if you don't know, is the most viewed video on my channel, and it's not even close. 400,000, finally outpacing like all my crossovers, all my holiday specials. Up until then, that was my most popular stuff. Anything that I did with Rada, anything that I did for April Fools, or that had Simo's face on the thumbnails. I was really happy with how this turned out and how well this did, the fact that it got so many views. And I have no idea why it did as good as it did. I wish I knew, because I would obviously do more stuff like this, but it just really did seem like the algorithm just had my favor there for whatever reason. Let's go ahead and start with the intro. I said this last year, but the intros are a really good way to judge kind of the health of the channel and how well this is doing. Because even though I have other people edit the majority of the videos, I do the intros myself. And the more invested I am in the series and the episode, the more free time I have in general, the more I spend crafting these and making these as awesome as possible. And this one is certainly no slouch. Yeah, alright, back it up. No, okay, now drop it down real slow. No, not like that.
Master 1 is the highest rank on Master Duel's competitive ladder, and achieving that rank is not an easy task.
It's not much, it's barely animated. It like shakes, it zooms in a little bit. Yeah, and then it dies. What if your equipment isn't streamlined or optimized? There's only one way to find out, so grab a snack and lean back, because it's ladder climb time. And welcome. Again, just a very striking beginning, but then from there it just kind of like blazes out. One thing that I've learned in editing is the importance of sound. I think I've talked about this before. Just little things like whenever something comes on screen, having a little whoosh sound effect. When you hit something, having like a metallic or a wooden like clunk or a ting sound really helps sell a lot of the movement effects. Without having any kind of sound effects, everything seems really empty and weightless. And I had that at the beginning there, and then at the end, stuff just kind of slid in without any kind of effect or anything. As for how this episode actually did, I mean, it was 3 hours and 40 minutes long. 158 duels, holy shit. I'm trying to remember if this was like normal. I guess we'll find out. These days I struggle to hit 100. And I don't know if that's just because I play less, like I cut the streams off early and don't play over the weekends, or if Yu-Gi-Oh has just become so much more complicated, if the combos have become so much longer, that it's more difficult to get those really long duels in there. Yeah, people in chat are saying, I think combos have just gotten longer. Also, I realize you cannot read chat at all. 1 second. There you go. Now chat has their own little box and they can be read and everything. But yeah, a lot of them are saying it's just a matter of duels getting longer. I guess we'll find out as we go into more of these. 55% win rate, and we only made it into Master 5. So this is one of those decks that, like, barely succeeded. The memories I have from this are just realizing that this deck is not good in the slightest. Again, this is one of those decks like the Galaxy Eyes, which is another episode that did really, really well, despite the deck performing really, really poorly. Where I thought what people wanted and what people liked was these really jank archetypes, and then the last year or so has shown me that isn't necessarily the case. But I guess we'll see as we get more along. Either way, if I had to rate this episode, I think it's hard to call it anything other than an A tier, because it just performed so well. We'll go ahead, start the poll up in chat if you would, mods. We'll see what they have to think. And while they're voting on it, let's check out the comments here, shall we? This deck is OSHA certified. Negate and saw their bones in half. No amount of flex tape will fix that. I guess that's a funny line. I forgot I said, again, you know, so much of the comedy and everything I do is just improvised. I know, I heard some YouTubers and some streamers, they'll sit and like workshop bits with their friends. They'll think of funny little things that they can say later on. I occasionally, like when I get up to go get a snack, I might think of something funny to say when I return. But everything else is just right off the top of the dome. Which probably explains why I only have a few funny moments. It's my comfort deck. Sometimes I bring it out and choo-choo all over my friends. There's gotta be a better way to phrase that, man. Alright, so looking at what chat says, we got 61% also rating it an A. We got 39% saying B. I guess I'll keep it an A. I was saying before, I feel like I have to put it an A just because of how many views it got. Like, it must have done something right. But again, I can't remember any great moments from this. I'm like, maybe chat knows something else. But it seems like almost 40% of chat is like, yeah, it was pretty mediocre in general. So it's an A, but it's like the low end of A. You know, if we add another A in there, this will probably go down a little bit. Okay, so next up we have Snake Eyes, which I mean, S tier thumbnail. This thumbnail certainly got people's attention. Much better than the tier limit episode. If you recall, the tier limit episode was my worst performing ladder climb because it was one of the first times I played meta and people really didn't like it. But this was a good example of people tuned in to watch the Snake Eyes episode. Maybe just because of the iconic thumbnail, who knows. Got 137,000 views, so did pretty well. Definitely not on the highest, like, top 10 ladder climbs, but definitely did. That was all of them from around this time ended up getting around 100,000 views. So just doing pretty good. I do not remember the intro in the slightest. Master 1 is the highest rank on Master Duel's competitive ladder, and achieving that rank is not an easy task. Unless you use the most broken cards in the game, then it's a piece of cake, right? Glowy eyes. I'm Hardleg Joe, if you didn't know, and that's exactly what I aim to find out. Last time they did this, it was Tier 0 tier limit, which ended up being one of the most difficult and skill-testing climbs of my entire career. Because even though this deck was crazy powerful, every single duel was either a mirror match or an anti-meta deck designed specifically to beat that strategy. Which is what it feels like playing Mitsurugi right now. I'm like, oh, this'll be easy. Mitsurugi is a good deck, but everyone is prepared for it, and I'm not playing the best version. Will this be the quick climb that everyone expects from an overpowered deck?
Or will this be another knockdown, drag-out, no-holds-barred cage match to see which duelist has what it takes to roll the bones, brother? There's only one way to find out, so grab a snack and lean back, because it's ladder climb time, and DFL Star.
Yeah, pretty nice stuff. And to answer the question from the intro, yeah, it was actually pretty easy. If I recall, we ended up getting to Master 1 at the start of like the 5th day, and it has one of the highest win rates of any ladder climb, because even though everything was a mirror match, this deck really just felt like, did you open the starter and 2 hand traps? Who won the coin toss? And we won more coin tosses and we opened more hand traps. It was really not a hard deck to play. Even up until the end, I was making mistakes and still winning because it's such a forgiving deck. Yeah, 127 duels. So still way more duels than I'm playing in the modern game. Because again, most episodes these days, like the last 5 or 6, have all been around 100 duels total. But 67% win rate is crazy high. Usually it's like high 50s at most. Again, I don't have any super bad memories from this. The only thing I really remember is partway through, I had a thing where I was like, maybe free will doesn't exist. Because the games felt so deterministic, they were so based on the opening hand, I felt like I wasn't actually making any sort of meaningful plays. The games were just decided by whatever we happened to draw. And then we sat down to try to calculate it by looking at both players' hands, and realized I was actually making some smart plays. They weren't the most complex plays or whatever, I wasn't being a brain genius, but a lot of my opponents just didn't understand the deck as well, or didn't understand the matchups as well, and as a result, I just did better. Yeah, Snake Eyes, not a terrible deck, not a terrible format, it just went on for so fucking long, especially on Master Duel. Like holy shit. This is another one. Again, I can't think of anything bad for it. I think I might put it in A tier as well. Just because, like, we managed to play a meta deck and actually make it fun. Like, it wasn't super awesome exciting, but the fact that we made something that could have been really boring and uninteresting and made it interesting kind of elevates it in my mind. The fact that I still remember some of the, like, duels from this. But we'll go ahead and see what everyone else in chat thinks. Maybe this was less liked than I remembered. Let's see what the comments have to say. Oh yeah, for those of you who missed the pack openings, check out my new series, the Deck Devastation Challenge. Comment in the comments if you remember the Deck Devastation Challenge. That didn't last very long at all. This thumbnail is easily one of the most cursed images you ever made. That's the top comment, understandable. The thumbnail is Hardleg's reaction when they finally ban Maxi. Alright, it looks like chat disagrees with me. They're thinking more B. We've even got some people in C and D tier, so I'll absolutely move it down to B. Again, I don't have super strong reactions, and also, it's one of those weird things where, like, I don't watch my own videos back for the most part. Like, I've made content that I like to watch before, but the ladder climbs, ironically, are not something I think I would watch on my own time. So the audience, I feel like, would have a better understanding of what makes a good episode than I do. So if most people vote for not A, then yeah, this definitely could go down in B tier, maybe even C or D. You know, comment in the comments your own tier list. Okay, so next up we've got Gold Pride, which is a deck I really enjoyed. It's something I thought was really fun and really interesting, and unfortunately it just suffers from the same curse that like Libromancer does, where every single card in the deck is like special summon this to do a thing, and Max E was still at 3 and everyone was playing it, so this deck just cannot survive Max E. It maybe could have been Rogue in TCG, but in Master Duel, absolutely not. And it's a pity that, like, it just really never saw its chance to shine. Because even now that they have Genesis format, I was like, ooh, Gold Pride might work there. Except you're missing the links, and you really do kind of need some links with this. Maybe you could do other stuff, but just one of those big missed opportunities. The intro I remember putting a lot of time and effort into. I had to find a whole bunch of background footage and cars and stuff.
Master 1 is the highest rank on Master Duel's competitive ladder.
Yeah.
And achieving that rank is not an easy task. Only the fastest and most furious decks have what it takes to cross the finish line. Oh! But what if you don't play the best deck? What if you're a bad driver, your car is kind of a junker, and you lack family? Could you still...
Vin Diesel jump scare. Yeah, as far as the opening, I have to do like S-tier opening skit.
Before the release of Full Power Snake Eyes, will the...
I forgot I made that. The angry Poplar with the realistic human mouth. Yeah, this is, I think, probably the pinnacle of my editing prowess. I think it peaked here, unfortunately. I mean, this one, to be fair, it is really easy to understand the theme of this. Once I got to Memento, I was like, what the fuck do I do for Memento? I don't fucking know. Memento's so weird. They don't really have a mechanical or visual thing, except they're kind of zombies and they kind of have a crystal. I don't know. But here it's really easy, like everything's cars, everything's vehicles. As for the actual episode, again, I remember this deck being fun, but I remember it being frustrating. And yeah, just looking at what I can see already. End up in Diamond 4. Yep, I only made it to Diamond 1. I couldn't crack into Master with this deck. I played 123 duel and the win rate's under 50%. Just absolutely terrible. I don't know, I'm tempted to put it in at least B tier just for the intro, but I'm not sure how well the rest of the episode. 3 hours and 30 minutes, that is a long time to be there. Go ahead and get the poll started. But yeah, I'd put this in B. Maybe, yeah, probably around there. Maybe like a low B, maybe even a C. 107,000 views, so pretty decent. Oh, and Mr. Nova edited this one. Top comment is Mr. Nova, just saying I'm glad it came together. Yeah, Mr. Nova, solid editor, very good, but then they got caught up in college. And they haven't been editing for, I think, a year now at this point. It's been a while. A deck can make an 11, Joe. Slap pep, this thing can fit into so many decks. Sir, keep your eyes on the road. The host skits are getting more wacky and elaborate, yeah. The fact that the number of games lost matches the number of coin flips lost for the entire first half is the Cold Pride experience in a nutshell. Yeah. Especially in Snake Eye format, because it felt like no amount of hand traps could really stop them. A fun deck, but just unfortunately didn't work. Looks like 40% of people are saying B tier, and we got another 6 saying C, 3 saying A. Yeah, I guess we'll put it in B tier. B tier just for the intro, if nothing else. Alright, next up, we have Volcanic, which was pretty fun. I remember liking this deck, being able to do a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, another top tier thumbnail, just full of like rage and fury, and this wig was probably one of the better props that I ended up getting for a deck. Especially I get to throw Snake Eyes in with this, so you actually have a chance of surviving. Let's see what the intro holds in store for us.
Master 1 is the highest rank on Master Duel's competitive ladder.
I don't think it's supposed to be this quality. I think I just have too many tabs open, so it's lowering it down.
You see, each month my patrons assign me a different deck, and I see how far I can push it up the Master Duel ladder. This
Use the Volcanic rocket as an actual rocket. Yeah, and if you're wondering why I'm all glowy, why I've got this like yellow aura around me, it was not a thematic choice. It was because the wig had so many stray hairs going everywhere that if I didn't have an aura, if I had a straight line around it, there was like a green wiggly line where you would be able to see the background. Unfortunately, if you have a whole lot of hair, if you don't have a lot of straight edges, it does that.
Will the new Pyro support allow us to bring the pain?
Pain, always asking for Pyro support. Whatever happened to that guy? But if you don't know, there was a guy whose name was Pain who had this logo for his avatar on Twitter, and every day on Twitter he would ask Konami for Pyro support. He's still around. He's top comment, I think. Oh, is he? Oh, we gotta go check this. Yeah, there we go, Pain. This is gonna be an incredible video to watch. Yeah, so if you know that, that's the reference. But even if you don't, you know, will we still be able to bring the pain?
Pain? Or is this deck all smoke and no fire? You'll have to watch to find out, so grab a snack and lean back, because it's ladder climb time.
Up in smoke. Overall, a good intro, and it looks like there's two parts that people are really looking at. Oh, one is just the deck profile. Yeah, so we got the 60 card. This is the FTK version, I think. And what was this one? Is this exact game? No, I have 500 left. 1, 2, 3. Bang. Unless you got Valor. I don't think that helps you very much. I mean, you can forestall the inevitable, but that bullet's gonna reach you. It might be going in slow motion. 2,000. Yeah, so I guess people just tuning back because it was a good duel. We won with burn damage right at the end there. And then let's look at the end here. Geez, 154 duels. But we only made it to Master Oh yeah, but we did start in Platinum because we didn't do as well on the previous one. Maybe if we had started higher, it might have worked. 60% win rate almost, which is pretty good. Very expensive deck, holy shit. And yeah, I think this is pretty good. I'd call this like an A rank, I think. Definitely better than Earth Machines. I had a lot of fun, not only because we did pretty well, and not only because I like this deck, but because we did so many variants. This is one of the few decks where it's like, we got to play pure Volcanic and see what that did. We got to play a cheesy FTK version, which I think we FTK'd, I think like 4 times or something. It wasn't super consistent. A lot of hand traps stopped it, but it was one of those things where like, if they can't stop you, then you do it. And if they can stop you, you're still just playing Volcanics and doing a lot of burn damage. It was fun to play on a different axis a lot of people weren't prepared for. And then we got to break out the meta version that played the Snake Eye stuff. Extremely fun and varied episode. Let's look at the rest of these comments real quick. I like to imagine Snow arriving on the field after banishing Emperor to dodge targeted negation and screaming, "Sick 'em, Johnny," before the spirit of the Emperor engulfs the board in flames from the great banishment beyond. Oh yeah, that was one of the funny things. If you don't know, the Emperor, when it's summoned, deals 1,500 damage. Or I think it's like 500 for every pyro that's banished. So usually at least 1,500, sometimes more. And then what would happen is you would get Fairy Tale Snow in the graveyard. So Emperor would come out, they'd use Imperm or some other effect that tries to target it to negate it. And then Snow could banish it as cost, so that not only was it not on the field to be negated, but more pyros were banished. So you deal like a shit ton of burn damage and kill them out of nowhere. Very fun, one of the few times I like playing Fairy Tale Snow. I've gone beyond salty. Now I just kind of exist. I'm just kind of here in this limbo. Joe proving once again he's the most relatable Yugi tuber. You see, now I've gone beyond the limbo and I'm salty again. I've gone back to being angry at the Master Duel list. Ban Max C, damn you. Volcanic Emperor, such a cool boss monster. Agreed. It did so much. I wonder, maybe I should try to make this in Genesis. I wonder if this does anything, or if it's just too outdated. This is a top-tier ladder climb, says Munchry. The amount of deck variety and interesting duels stacked on top of a spicy new editing. Yeah, Mr. Metal did this. This was one of the early ones, I think. Mr. Metal did a great job. Oh yeah, this. Real quick, the poll, we got 69%, nice, saying A, and a few people saying B. So yeah, I think this is probably, if not the best one of 2024, at least high A tier. Let me look at this edit real quick. Someone actually put a time code. It's in per. But wait, it's Snow coming from the back rooms. She's got a folding chair. Oh, 7,000. Great edit. Fantastic. Definitely putting this up in A tier. Okay, next up we got Memento, which is This is one of those decks like DDD that's like kind of fun, but it takes so much mental energy. The combos are so long. This is absolutely one of those decks where most of the time you lose to the timer. There were so many people trying to get me to play Memento again once they got the new support, and I was like, if you want, I guess. Like, I'm willing to play it, but oh boy, is that a slog. And if I recall, the only thing I could think of to do with the editing at the intro was just like, well, they all explode. They all pop each other. So I just exploded a whole lot. Master 1 is the highest rank on Master Duel's competitive ladder, and achieving that rank ain't easy. What if instead you pilot an archetype that revolves around summoning monsters and then blowing them up?
Could you still make it to the top then?
Oh, hey. I'm Hardleg. Yep, I think I've relied too much on that joke. I may need to save it up. I do this thing where I get really dramatic and then I just come in and be like, hey, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But running into the text and knocking it down while there's like thump sound effects, just like top tier stuff. Alright, one more explosion, just for kicks. Oh, well, hello there. Oh, well, hello there. Yeah, I think that is the first time I used the Vine Boom sound effect at the start. I was already late getting to it on that trend, and I've only used it more since then. I just really like the Vine Boom sound effect. What can I say? I also got the Hard to Say, Hard the Leg, which predates this by a lot, but is something that I don't think I've used in a whole lot of intros. Not seeing any big major spikes. Let's see what we have at the end here. Yeah, just a big old slog. Just a big, like, if you go first, then you have a good time. And if you don't go first, you don't have a good time. I'm surprised we won 55% of the time. Yeah, at least personally, I think this is the first one I would put down in, like, a C. I can't remember anything exciting from it. All the duels I remember being a slog. Maybe people like it more. We'll go ahead and see what maybe chat has better memories of it. You start the poll up. 102,000 views, 3.5 hours. That seems to be a lot of these. Memento has to be one of the best designs in Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever. The deck has no locks in any of the cards, and you're encouraged to play a lot of the archetype cards. It's competent and doesn't rely on floodgates like other rogue decks. Yeah, it is interesting how Memento really could function as a deck with 0 locks whatsoever that also somehow didn't have a whole bunch of extra stuff in it. Like, despite not locking you into things, the design of it was such a way that you just played a pure Memento deck. There was nothing really to splash it with. You have to play a whole bunch of names. Cranium Burst Battle Forcing effect will never not be funny. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Cranium Burst, since says you have to attack the highest attack or the highest level Memento. So sometimes you'd leave stuff on the field like a 2-material Appaloosa and people would go to battle thinking they could run over it, and it's like, no. You can only attack the big Memento man. I think that's probably another reason why this is kind of like a C, like, especially now Memento is good, but back then it really just was go first, make an unstoppable board. If you make the unstoppable board and your opponent doesn't have max C and no board breakers, you just win. This video has vastly increased the number of times dry bones reassembling sound effect is played in my head. Yeah, I think that was Mr. Metal used that for every time a duel started, or maybe it was Mr. Nova. Yeah, Mr. Nova. And yep, looking at it, we got 60% of people also saying this belongs in C. It feels like a shame because I don't hate Memento, but yeah, there's just nothing like amazingly fantastic. We had a couple laughs at people not reading Cranium Burst, but otherwise it was like big combo or surrender. Lose to Maxi. Not much exciting going on. Now, by contrast, Odd Eyes. Look at this thumbnail. I'm not excited. Look at this title. My patrons made me climb the ladder with Odd Eyes. I thought this was going to be another Galaxy Eyes situation. This would be another deck that, like, well, it's from the anime. It has its fans. It didn't do well. It did even worse than we thought. Turns out having Electromite does not make a deck master tier. But I thought maybe people would tune in for the suffering. But this is one of those episodes that really proves right off the bat that, no. Sometimes you can play jank and suffer all you want, and that doesn't make for an entertaining or interesting episode that people want to watch. And you can see this is really one of the first episodes in a while that never got beyond 100k. Absolutely miserable. You know what, before I even watch everything, D tier. What can I say that was good about this episode? Nothing. Let's watch the intro. I forget what I even did. I think it's just ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, Master 1 is the highest rank on Master Duel's competitive ladder, and achieving that rank ain't easy. Well, all the best decks have one-card starters, allowing them to build massive boards with little investment. And what if you don't play one of those? Yep, did you get it, chat? I put out the 2 pendulum scales, and then I pendulum summoned myself from the top row to being in front of them. Joe wiggling his fingers is so creepy. I sat there doing like this for what felt like a minute, so I thought I had enough time. Same thing with the like doing this. I really tried to time this up, and then while I was editing it, just did not have anything synced up at all. So I had to slow down a lot of the footage, and that's why it looks even creepier, because it's like slow motion finger waggling, which kind of hits that uncanny valley. Having the hats with all the eyes doesn't hurt or doesn't help, because it's ladder climb time. And welcome back. And I swung off the screen like a pendulum. Yeah, I was definitely reaching, trying to find stuff. I made some puns and everything. And yeah, as you could tell, it's, where'd all the eyes go? I started with 2 eyes, and every stream I added 2 to the hat. It was a neat little theme, but not nearly as iconic as the big fiery wig or anything. It's just hard to do theming for this unless I dressed up like a clown or something, maybe. Yeah, also, I think yugioh was here. And we had, like, the Zark stuff had just come out, so it was like, oh, we could play Zark. And then yugioh came out, and yugioh would just run into the 4K body and kill us instantly. Also, some people really hate this shirt. I think it looks nice. I think it looks like it fits thematically, but some people just really don't like it. Oh, it looks like they were voting. I didn't even notice that. The vote had already started, and yeah, everyone else says D tier too. 113. So this was the first one where we really started to lower, which makes me think, I don't think anything really big changed with the meta in terms of like combo lines or whatever. I think this was just like the first deck where it came to the weekends where I used to play, and I just did not have the enthusiasm to play, to like sit down for an hour off camera and like grind duels. Because who would want to? It's fucking Odd Eyes. This had a better win rate. Yeah, I'm surprised it got up to Diamond 2. Win rate still didn't break 50%. We had a whole bunch of different builds, but almost all of them functioned about the same. This was also, I believe, edited by Audrey, who mostly worked on Let's Learns. They were an editor that I was like trying out, and I had them do this one to kind of practice and be like, hey, would you like to try a ladder climb? And they were like, yeah, sure. And then afterwards, they're like, I do not want to edit a ladder climb again. I was like, understandable. Let's see if there's any good comments or anything. Massive thanks for the shout out. Oh yeah, Entertainer. They're a Odd Eyes one trick. I learned as much as I could from them. One must imagine Sisyphus entertained. Are you not entertained? This episode seems much longer than the others. The opening being a huge yugioh reference is pretty neat. I like that the title for this one says they made me play instead of my patrons, implying there's some sort of Illuminati-esque secret society that forced you to play an outdated pendulum deck. Yeah, I think originally it said, like, they made me climb the ladder with Odd Eyes, and I changed it to my patrons after seeing that. Like, I don't want to be creepy. But yeah, this deck was just, it was painful. It was not fun. It was not good in any way. We put it in D tier, and it belongs in D tier. And then we played Paleozoics. And you know, I was like, oh, I think the Volcanic one, that might be the best. No, Paleozoic's good. Paleozoic's obviously A tier. I don't think anything about the editing is especially good. I don't think I had any funny bits. Just, I put it in A tier based entirely on I had so much fun with this deck. I love this deck. It's my new favorite deck. It's its own tier. It's the closest we got to S tier. If it had some like amazing edits or something else on top of this, I think it would be over the top. But again, unfortunately, I was kind of burnt out from this one. And even this one, even though it turned out well, it took a lot out of me. I believe I made myself a trap card for the beginning. Paleozoic Ladder Climb. Activate this at the start of a YouTube video. Special summon one Hardleg Joe from his house, and if you do, have him introduce the episode. At the end of the intro, flip all face-up Hardleg Joes face down, and gain +1 subscription for everyone who paused the video to read this effect. Now you've all been heard. You gotta subscribe if you're not subscribed. Yeah, so just doing this and...
Master 1 is the highest rank on Master Duel's competitive
jumping out of the trap card.
Achieving that rank ain't easy. Not only do you have to play the newest, most broken cards, but with only a month...
To think, Voiceless Voice was the most broken card at the top. A negate every turn?
Or are these Cambrian creatures simply going to explode under the pressure? There's only one way
It's
to
the
find
Cambrian
out, so grab a snack
explosion.
and lean back, 'cause it's ladder climb time. And back face down.
At the end, put all Hardleg's face down. Oh yeah, and we got the little Opabinia. 3 hours, 15 minutes, 136,000 views. And this one, I believe, made it into Master 1. Oh, we got a couple, like, peaks and valleys. We'll have to see what the comments say. The biggest one is just seeing the final version of the deck. Yeah, just look at this mess. 60 card Paleo, big old huge pile. We made it to Master 1. I played 165 duels, which, considering how long a lot of these duels were, just goes to show how much I played extra on this. I think I just mentioned in the outro there that I played 12 extra hours, like essentially 2 extra streams. And I was like, on the one hand, I think a lot of decks, if I spent 12 more hours playing it, would have made it this high. On the other hand, very few decks are so fun that even after spending all week playing it, I want to sit down in my free time and play it again. Paleo, just a ton of fun, very exciting, very interactive. Hopefully we get some kind of build. Unfortunately, I think it's been power crept already. I'd be curious to try it out again at some point. And it looks like chat agrees, because with 85% they also said A tier. So I think we absolutely put it up there. What did the comments have to say? 3 hours? Those 2 Paleo games will be legendary, yeah. I forget if it was Mr. Metal who did this one. No, Mr. Nova. Mr. Nova really went above and beyond editing these. Like, these duels were so fucking long, and he somehow got this whole episode down to 3 hours. It's just amazing. Just astounding work by Mr. Nova. Can't believe Hardleg harnessed 1% of Joshua Schmidt's power to play 2 Paleo games. How could I possibly unsubscribe? The showmanship alone is enough to make me stay. The deck feels like a breath of fresh air. Here are my rough calculations on the average duel length. Ah, Mr. Nova in chat. 8 duels were under 2 minutes in length. 9 duels were 2 to 5 minutes. The majority of duels were 6 to 10 minutes. 4 of them were 30 to 40 minutes, and 1 went over 40 minutes. The longest duel was 42 minutes long. The average was 13. For comparison, the Gold Pride episode only had 1 duel that went over 30 minutes. And the Memento duels only had 1 duel that went over 30. The longest Memento duel was 28 minutes. Whoever edited this together is really handsome. But yeah, long story short, top of A tier, closest we get to S tier. Absolutely do that if we have an S tier one. Of course, that brings us to the Ghoti ladder climb. Oh, the Ghoti. I mean, in terms of hat, it's an S tier hat. I love this hat. Great hat. Very, very iconic. I love that I actually found it. Unfortunately, Ghoti, despite being one of my favorite archetypes, I almost feel like it's like C tier, maybe low B tier, but it got new support and I was so excited, and this episode just like, it was so bad that it made me reconsider what kind of decks I even allow on this show. It was like, wow, I didn't think it would be that terrible. But Snake Eyes and Yubel were just on a level far above anything. This is the first archetype that I've done a second episode on. I did them the year earlier when they first came out, and then we had a return because they were really fun. Since then I've done Crystron for a second time. But because of this, I think I really hammered in the nostalgia of the first one in this opening.
Whoa! Master 1 is the highest rank on Master Duel's competitive ladder, and getting there is not easy. Only the best duelist with the strongest decks can climb all the way to the top. But what if you don't use the strongest deck? What if you play a bunch of Space Fish instead? How far could you get? I'm Hardleg Joe, if you didn't know, and that's just the kind of thing I do. Each month my patrons pick a different archetype, and I do my best to push it up the Master Duel ladder. This month, we're playing Ghoti, or Fish if you're a grammar nerd. This awesome little archetype combines two of my favorite things. Summoning big monsters on the opponent's turn, and banishing everything to another dimension. Will that... Oh, hey, didn't see you there.
Oh, hey.
Just watching an old video of mine. Climbing the ladder with...
Yeah, this one was really... I really should have cleaned up my desk. I was like considering it, and I was like, nah, I'll just leave all the messy shit on it. It looks more lived in. It looks more real. The intro still messes with me. The slow camera zoom out. To be fair, this is probably not a good intro as far as like getting people's attention. Also, it was really hard to fill.
There's only one way to find out, so grab a snack and lean back, cause it's ladder climb time. Again, with Ghoti 2!
Yeah, definitely a fun, definitely an interesting intro, and something where like, you know, it's not the most exciting, it wasn't the funniest bit, but I definitely learned a whole lot about editing and camera stuff just from trying to get this shot. This is one of the few times I had an idea for a shot. I'm like, I'm going to do this. And then actually recording it ended up being a nightmare. If I recall, the way I ended up having to do it was like, but yeah, so I'm like green screened over this. And I believe this is actually just a picture. And the video playing had to be recorded separately and like overlaid in the window. So despite this being something where if I just had another camera person, if I had someone to hold the camera or I had more room behind me, because there's actually not enough room, I'm like touching a wall right here. So I had to composite like 3 fucking things together. And let's see at the end, I only made it to Diamond 2. 120 duels. Okay, so we are back to like 120 being the average. Only a 47 win rate and 9 different versions. We tried so hard to make this work. There were so many different designs and it was just painful. Just losing so many. Let me look at the outro real quick. What was my explanation for this? Yeah, so I guess it was just the sense of power creep. And yeah, I'm starting to remember what I was saying back then because I talked previously about voiceless voice. I was like, oh, that was the great new thing. And that was really an example of like, is voiceless voice an amazing, like, unstoppable deck? No, not really. Especially with how much power creep has jumped in the last year. It's not unstoppable. But it's the fact that, like, even the rogue decks have 1-card starters that are searchable by other cards that are searchable by other cards. That deck has so much redundancy, and it doesn't matter how much you destroy, how much you devastate, it's not enough to merely break a board. You now have to break a board and establish more disruption for their follow-up, because they have so many ways to get to their 1-card starters. And it used to be like every deck had one, but if you stop them, you're like, okay. And now it feels like every deck has backups for their 1-cards. They have multiple 1-card starters, like even the bad decks do. So a deck like Ghoti, where you only have one 1-card starter in the form of Lifeless Leaf Fish, and everything else is a 2-card combo at best, it's just like, it doesn't work. Yeah, I put this down as C, and it looks like most of the patrons, they're a little bit more willing to put it up into B, just barely. I think I'm going to keep it in high C. It's just, as much as I like Ghoti this episode, I just don't have any good memories from it. It was so bad that this started the trend that then continued into 2025, where I was like, from now on, I'm only playing rogue decks. I'm not playing jank anymore, except for Jankmas. And I think that might have been a mistake. I mean, we're not going to be getting really into the 2025 decks, but really this marks the beginning of the end for the ladder climbs getting to like 100,000 views. They used to all get significantly more views than I had subscribers. They were all bringing in new subscribers every time I released one. I was making enough money to like hire editors for other projects and work on other projects. And after this one, it just all kind of started going downhill. Unfortunately. And part of me thinks it might be because of that, and part of me might just think that Master Duel just shit the bed. Hard to say, hard to leg. Let's look at the comments real quick before we move on. Honey, wake up, the fish are synchro summoning again. Yep. Classic MBT bit. I'm teaching the fish to synchro summon. Let's pour one out for Mr. Metal, who watched Shark Tale for those sick edits. The intro and transition between old and new, chef's kiss. I'm glad someone liked that intro, or I guess a lot of people, because it has a whole bunch of views. I thought it was really messy. I thought it didn't work very well at all. Alright, next up, second to last, we have Ancient Gears. Which, despite the fact that we're getting closer, I don't remember a whole lot. I like OTKing. This is still one of my favorite, like, blind second decks up until Gem Knights. I'm willing to, just by default, put this up in B. Maybe I'll remember stuff as we watch the intro or whatever. We'll see what everyone else thinks.
Master 1 is the highest rank on Master Duel's competitive ladder, and achieving that rank ain't easy. Could you still advance to the top?
I mean, maybe, but probably not while wearing a helmet like this. I cannot see a thing through this. Here, one second, let me get my glasses on, we'll get the hat. I'm Hardleg Joe, by the way, if you didn't know. Whip crack, I guess. And that's exactly what we're gonna find out today. And yeah, this is one of the, I think originally I had a much more involved intro planned, but I am not good at memorizing lines. I have to read off of like a teleprompter, and I cannot read with my glasses off, and I cannot wear the Ancient Gear helmet. So I had to do that like transition, and I thought this like meta, like fourth wall breaking thing would be fun. And again, I'm realizing the stuff I think is funny is maybe not as funny to other people. Traditionally, this has been a go second OTK strategy, using huge monsters to push for game in a single devastating battle. Which is usually an unexpected strategy in the meta that can steal games through surprise, but somehow I have a feeling that won't be the case this month. Will my... Yeah, I forgot about this. They released Ancient Gears and Tempai within like a month of each other. And so everyone was prepared for like stopping the OTK. Anytime you chose to go second, people were like preparing for the OTK. And as a result, we had a much more difficult time. Ironically, I believe we had a pretty good matchup against Tempai, mostly because people didn't read Ancient Gear Chaos Giant. He says your opponent can't activate any monster effects during the battle phase, and it's immune to spell traps. So like we make it, and they don't have any good spell traps to get rid of it, and then they go to the battle phase and find they can't do anything. So we had a winning record versus Tempai, and not as good of a record against everything else. I'm trying to remember how it did. I remember having fun with this, but I don't remember how far we got. Yeah, we only made it to Master 5, but this was another one where we started down in Platinum. So I guess that makes a little bit more sense. I mean, 62% win rate is pretty good. It's weird that the win rate would be that high, but we only made it into Master 5. Oh, that was the other thing. This was at the height of yugioh format. And unfortunately, we just have a really bad matchup against yugioh. because they have that spell trap that says we take the battle damage, and being able to get rid of like their monster that can't be destroyed by battle and the spell trap was difficult. You really have to like clear the entire field. And 3 lightning storms certainly helps, but if you don't get the lightning storm or the heavy storm, win 20 games straight to get in the diamond and then 55-45 in diamond. Oh yeah, that might be why our win rate is so high. Is because when we went through platinum, it was absolutely crazy. And then diamond itself was a little bit more tricky. But yeah, I remember, what did I put this in? A tier? B tier? Yeah, B tier seems about good compared to everything else. What is chat saying? They're saying also B tier, some people A tier. No one thinks this is a lower tier episode. Quiet, Tempai. A real OTK deck is talking. Keep the proficiency exams. Yeah, I wish they would add more of those. Those were a fun break from everything. That first duel is the epitome of your quote, sometimes you win and sometimes your opponent loses. It's wild that they scooped. I almost died laughing when Joe gave nothing but praise about Ancient Gear's 12-card package of pure consistency, only to brick on the very first hand. Alright, we got 2 more left, starting with Ritual Beast. Oh, Ritual Beast. You know, I said the Ghoti was the beginning of the end, but this was where it really kicked in. Let's, real quick, because we didn't look at this. This was 4 hours long for an OTK deck. 89,000 views. So still pretty decent. But this now has, I think, the record for the lowest numbers on any ladder climb. I was like, you know, just because I'm not playing jank doesn't mean I can't play, like, rogue decks. Ritual Beasts were never the best deck. They were always in the, like, top 10. They were decent. And this just did absolute shit numbers. Like 63,000, that's less views than I have subscribers. Not only did this not break out of my audience, the people who were in my audience, a lot of them didn't watch it. Which is a pity because I thought this was a really fun ladder climb. Especially Mr. Metal put in so much work editing this. The start of every stream starts with a little bit where it shows the story of how Critter became a ritual beast. There's like a little lore thing, so much so that I released it in its own short, and that short did terribly. Like, I would love to put this in A, and just like previously where it was like, this is maybe B tier, but it did so well, I want to put it in A. This is like A tier that did so poorly, I have to give it like B at the highest. It just, unfortunately, it did so bad. People did not want to watch this. I forget what the actual intro was, though. Master 1 is the highest rank on Master Duel's competitive ladder, and achieving that rank ain't easy. What if you play a bunch of ritual monsters instead? I forget who it was. Maybe it's one of the comments. They're like, I had to stop and look, because I was like, wait, is this a ritual archetype? I thought these were fusions. You see, each month... Oh, hey, Critter, what's up? Oh? Ritual beasts don't use ritual monsters. They use links and fusions. Ah, I see. Well, I guess I should reevaluate this intro then. Yes, thank you for letting me know. You're a valued companion, Critter. Okay, how about something like this then? What if you play a deck made entirely of beast-type monsters? Could you still make it to Master? I'm Hardleg Joe, and what do you mean only one of them is a beast type? And it's the penguin? Shouldn't that be like a winged beast or something? This is such a dumb bit, and the editing's not great. It's just Critter like standing there. But I love goofy shit like this. Yeah, looks like chat is saying B tier as well. We'll have to see how it actually turned out. In a short amount of time, there's only one way to find out. So grab a snack and lean back, because it's ladder climb time. And tag out! Now hiring Ritual Beast support. And Day 1, yeah, the Ritual Beast trainer. You know what, we're gonna go through these real quick. Fortunately, I have time codes. Dawn of Stream 2.
Good news, Unicorn Twins. Unless some freak accident happens in the next couple seconds, you both get the job.
Oh, that's great, brother. Let's both do our...
Oh, well, that's a shame. What can you do, little fellow?
And behold,
Critter goes to the sacred tree. The Kashtiras were gonna be ritual beasts, but then Critter crushed one of them. Also, that's Mr. Metal's voice, if you're curious. He not only animated these little things, he also voice acted in them.
You were taken from me too soon, brother. But I swear that from this day forward, I will avenge you.
I guess we have room for some pack filler.
I will avenge you. He's just being himself. He's having some time out in the day. What's his ritual beast steed? Just, a jet ski. He's just jet skiing around.
and here we are,
Oh yeah, I was like, I need more beasts, so at some point I broke out the Alestral's crocodile. Yeah.
Master. All right, one more win.
I was like, we need even more beasts, so I brought out the Chronodile. It's the dawn of day 5.
Unicorn, you are supposed to help us fight the Infernoids, not join them.
Oh, Elder, my beasthood died when my brother did.
And here we are.
Fortunately, Critter dove in further away. He was very heroic.
Now that the world is destroyed and only us 3 survived, I see the pain I felt did not justify the actions I committed. Now here, take this time machine and make everything right again. I'll be seeing you soon, my brother.
Make things right. Kill my brother and me. If we're both taken out, I'll never destroy the world. Again, I just like cheesy, stupid shit. Okay, how did this deck actually do? It got to Master 1, right? Yeah. 130 duels, so I had to play a little bit extra. Master 1, 66%, only 3 versions. Again, a pity this didn't do well. I thought this was really fun. I thought there were a whole lot of neat, decent duels. The Critter lore is my magnum opus in my entire editing career. The story told in 20-second bursts will be the peak of my legacy when I leave this earth, and I think that's pretty cool. The editor deserves a raise. Yeah, we got this whole thing. It's 2.5 hours. It's much shorter than the other ones. All right, and that just brings us to the last one, the Nemleria ladder climb. I don't think I could put it anything other than A tier. This is one of the few we did this and I was like, okay, maybe it'll be fine. Maybe things will turn around. This episode got 100,000 views as well. It did really well. People liked the jank. I was like, okay, it's still good. We've got some other stuff on the horizon. It'll be fine. And this was like the last gasp for ladder climb. Since then, we have not even come close to 100,000. I don't think we've even broken, the number of subscribers I have. Even the other Jankmas episodes didn't do as well. We'll see. Maybe one day we can turn it around. Maybe in the future. But that's part of the reason why I wasn't looking forward to doing this, because it's like, the memories of how good I used to be.
Master 1 is the highest rank on Master Duel's competitive ladder.
Oh, real quick. I forget, did I actually do the... Yeah. I took the attention to detail to actually edit out the logo so I could throw it on there.
Master 1 is the highest rank, and achieving that rank isn't easy.
Vine
These
boom
days
sound
it takes
effect.
a lot of energy to make it to the top, and what if you're too sleepy for that?
The music's
Maybe 'cause
slowing
you're
down
tired
in the
from all
background.
holiday stuff, and you just want to take a nap. I'm Hardleg Joe, if you didn't know, because it's ladder climb time. Right after this nap. Oh, well, hello there.
Yeah. And I bought a little candle too with a candlestick holder. It truly was the season of Jankmas. Yeah, this is the first true Jankmas episode where we start on the Jankmas account all the way down in Bronze 5 with no gems, nothing in our collection, just trying to build a deck from scratch and seeing how far we can get from the very bottom. We made it all the way up into Diamond, which for this deck is pretty good. We only played 96 duels though, which seems crazy considering so many of them early on were like very easy wins. And yeah, this has, I believe, the highest win rate of any deck I've ever played, but only because Bronze and Silver were like a 20 game win streak where we never lost a single duel. I'd be curious, I guess we won't find out this time, we'd have to go on to the other episodes, but I wonder if this is where it turned to the duels only being closer to 100 instead of 120 because of how long everything got. But yeah, I'm putting this one up in A. See if everyone else agrees. Do you think this is a top tier ladder climb? To be fair, I don't remember a whole lot about this, except winning like 10 games in a row or 20 games, however much it was, just absolutely coasting through Bronze and Silver and even through a lot of Gold, despite facing off against some really strong meta decks. Like, I seem to remember playing against, like, a Yubel and being like, okay, we have to lose eventually. And because they were, like, a Silver Yubel deck, they were just so terrible that they couldn't get anything going. Sleepy Girl was my top beside Paleo. Yeah, I think Paleo's still probably better, at least in my personal opinion. But this was still fun. I liked playing this. We had other stuff we could do. We made some weird builds. I mean, we got up to 6 of them. I always knew that Hardleg was woke. I knew it the moment his alarm went off in the morning. Oh yeah. This was the height of like anti-woke stuff. And so we made a ton of jokes about like, the girl has woken up. She's woke. Watch out. She's banishing everyone. Starting from the lowest rank and having a budget build really is fun to watch. A whole other view on the game with this entertainment. She sleeps. She wakes. Her ice cream takes the cake. A nice little poem. Thank you, Rio Kitty. I just adore that they chose to give Dreaming Nemleria a summon animation. Just think about it. We have the most powerful magicians, the strongest dragons, the bravest warriors, omnipotent god, creatures beyond comprehension, and a sleepy girl. Yeah, and this is, it really is a double-edged sword where I've considered, I remember around this time, I was thinking maybe making every deck like this, that maybe the show would be a lot more fun if instead of starting up in the high levels, we started every episode down in like Bronze 5. And that would be possible because I have like 3 accounts and I could rotate them. And unless any of them made it into Master, they would always degrade by like 3 ranks. So we'd always be starting in like Silver or Bronze, depending on how far we made. And then we could play the absolute worst dog water decks instead of trying to do anything competitive. And as tempting as that is, every time I do a Jankmas deck, while I do get some people who enjoy it, I also get a lot of people who are like, this feels mean. It feels like smurfing. It feels like all you're doing is fighting against kids. Like, yeah, you're winning a lot, but only because you're going against people who are not as good at the game as you are. And that seems like a really strong argument to me for why we shouldn't do something like that. Also, 73% of people say A tier, so yeah, definitely go up into the A tier. Yeah, but those people are wrong. Maybe, we'll see. I've definitely opened it up the last couple months. It'll be interesting to see if we can turn it around, especially with Jankmas this year and the decks that come afterwards. Maybe we can go a little bit better. But the big thing, and I mean this is I guess spoilers for if I do a year 4 of this, we had Jankmas in July, which was Argo Stars, where we had the same Jankmas thing of playing a very rogue, a very off-meta deck starting in Bronze, and that episode did as poorly as any other episode. basically from this point on, every single ladder climb does, like, diminishing numbers. And again, I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe it's something to do with me, maybe it's the content, or maybe, you know, after 3 or 4 years, a show just isn't as exciting as it used to be. The fact of the matter is, everything has to end eventually. I can't keep going forever. So maybe I should come up with some other kind of show. I keep hoping that Master Duel will change something up. Maybe they'll add TCG or Genesis format. I think that could really revitalize things. Maybe I could have a show like that, but I'd be playing on like YGO Pro. And unfortunately though, it just doesn't look as good. Yeah, Master Duel in general is just kind of slowing down. Yu-Gi-Oh might be slowing down. And so I've been trying to go to other games, and that's not as popular either. It really is one of those things, just that slow spiraling. Maybe people experience that in other jobs, but it's one of those things you get as a creative, unfortunately. Where like, you make a really good album, or you release a really good movie, and you feel like you're at top of the world, and then it's just, what's the next thing? And if the next thing isn't better than, or as good as the previous thing, it feels like you're a failure, even if you've still got like a decent audience or whatever. And trying to decide if you really need to break out of your comfort zone and do something risky or something really crazy in the hopes of trying to beat your past self, or if you should just stay the course and do what your core fans enjoy doing. It's like the eternal struggle as like a creative person. And I have no idea what the answer is, and I have no idea why I'm even going on this ramble, but I mean, you're here, you stuck through like an hour and a half of listening to me talk about my old videos. I presume you want some like behind the scenes insight, some idea of what's going through my head. So that's, you know, what I've been thinking about, why I've been a little reluctant to do one of these. Because I do just feel like this show is unfortunately maybe on the decline, maybe on its way out. I'm going to still try to do it, at least through 2026. But there's definitely some other ideas brewing in my mind, both with non-Yu-Gi-Oh content and Yu-Gi-Oh content. We'll have to see what the future holds. Either way, I don't plan on giving up anytime soon. So thank you all for watching. Thank you especially to those of you supported, those of you who have donated on Patreon or donated on the streams, those of you who come out to the streams and make me company. I appreciate you hanging out. Hopefully we will get another year or 2 or 3 or 10 of Ladder Climb. That would be exciting. But whatever the future holds, I think we'll be able to have some fun. You know, good luck and have fun. That holds true for just about anything you want to do in life. So, once again, good luck and have fun.